My boyfriend, 22M, can't rest since I, 22F, have been assaulted. This is a throwaway account because my friends know my account and I don't necessarily want them to know everything. 3 weeks ago I, 22F, was assaulted when getting home late at night after work. I'll spare you the details, but he was much bigger and physically stronger than me and Evan thought.
I've been boxing for years.
That's what allowed me to escape. I suffered some light injuries. Broken nose, a few stitches and face bruises,
And a broken finger.
It could have been much worse.
I don't want to think about what would have happened without my training.
I called my boyfriend, 22 meters, right away and he took me to the hospital. The guy who assaulted me was caught a few days later. My boyfriend has been, and always was, the sweetest since it happened. He's been extremely attentive to all my needs, very present and understanding of everything. However, he can't stop blaming himself. He can't let me go on my own without freaking out, while I also have to deal with my own fears. And he has great problems sleeping. He has terrible nightmares and has had very little sleep since then. I know I'll be alright with time, but I don't know how to help him. He's seeing a therapist as I am, but so far it hasn't helped. My friend went through something similar. Her husband was earning his PhD and had to go in person for the weekend to stay on campus for classes. While he was gone, she was assaulted while their 4 children were sleeping in the house. Thankfully,
she was spared and so were the children.
She contacted her husband and he immediately came home but was consumed with guilt. For him, he clung to Jesus through it, but I know some people aren't spiritual. They also went on a retreat together. Just the 2 of them. They picked a place in the mountains and just spent time talking and healing together.
One day of the retreat, they had a counseling session together where they could hear both of each other's fears and concerns since the event. She specifically also did EMDR therapy, and what she learned there she would pass on to him.
Just some ideas. By retreat, I should clarify it was a getaway. Although I do know of retreats that couples can go on dealing with situations similar to this. Patience. Therapy takes time to work. Trauma takes time to process. Give this some time. Maybe the both of you take self-defense classes. It'd be good for him to physically see you handle yourself and maybe help put his mind at ease, knowing you've got some strength and training behind you. Plus, it'd be a fun bonding experience learning how to put some scumbag on his ass together. EMDR therapy is a great way to process trauma quickly and effectively.
Perhaps one or both of you could do that. Last year,
my father was assaulted and beaten nearly half to death, and he butt-dialed me while it was happening. My dad is fine now, and I'll skip to the relevant bits.
For several weeks afterwards,
I could not sleep. I would have nightmares remembering the sounds on the phone. I would stay up at night running through what I did while on the phone, and what I could have done differently. I wasn't even the one assaulted, and I was quite shocked at how it affected me.
But the good news is, it passed.
The good news is, from my own experience, it will probably go away with time. I still will occasionally have a nightmare, but nothing like before. Nothing worse than any kind of standard nightmare. There probably isn't much you can do other than be patient. Therapy could help too if it's right for him, and likely couldn't hurt. Pepper spray and other self-defense weapons depending on what state you live in is your best bet. Boxing and martial arts has its limits when against a physically bigger, stronger person. As for your BF, he understandably feels terrible. Maybe buy some self-defense stuff together so he knows that you have it. Our secondary survivors perhaps could be of help. PTSD doesn't happen only to the person who lived through the trauma, but it can also happen to their loved ones. The definition for PTSD in the DSM-V includes Learning that the traumatic event occurred to a close family member or close friend. I think both you and your boyfriend are probably going through some sort of PTSD, the fear, the nightmares, the hypervigilance. I would talk to a healthcare professional, not just a therapist, if you are able to. There are medications that can help with nightmares so that both of you can get some sleep.
It's probably not easy to try to live your daily lives after trauma when sleep deprived.
With regards to your therapist, I would look into EMDR therapy specifically for PTSD. Best of luck to the both of you. Healing takes time, but it can be done. Oh my goodness.
Bless your lovely heart. Less than 3. I am so sorry you had to experience something like that. And thank the Lordy for your training.
Sadly, you have both suffered a shock and trauma from this.
And time is going to be the only thing that helps.
I know that sucks. I remember I was mugged once. They didn't get anything of value, but the feeling of helplessness and the replaying of it over and over stayed with me for weeks, months. Your BF is also dealing with a
misplaced
guilt complex that he didn't somehow know, and that he wasn't able to help or defend you somehow. The trauma is raw. All you can do is try to talk it out and reassure each other that the likelihood of this happening again is minuscule, and to focus on the fact that you got away, that it wasn't worse, and that you are both safe, relatively unharmed, and that you can't live in fear forever.
You love each other, and at the moment his pain at seeing someone he loves go through that is
natural. You are in the shock and anger mode. It will pass. Just keep talking. Don't put a timeline on feeling better or not thinking about this incident. There will be a time when this is a distant memory. It may be months or years, but someday, you'll realize you don't think about it anymore. Less than 3.
I agree with the people saying time.
Several weeks ago my girlfriend and I went on a walk at night to get some takeout, and while we were at a group of 10 young men surrounded us. I don't know what they wanted. Perhaps to just scare us. But one of them lunged toward my GF as if to grab her. As if by some divine plan.
I happened to have the pepper spray I never bring with me,
and stepped in front of her, yelling at them to leave us alone or I would pepper spray anyone who
stepped closer.
One of them claimed that they had a gun, so it didn't matter. I just yelled, "Leave us the fuck alone," in a very loud, aggressive tone, and stood my ground, and they left slowly.
I am very shook up by this.
I worry a lot about what would have happened if my GF were out at night and I wasn't there. She takes the bus at night sometimes, and it really bothers me. And I can tell it annoys her that I keep offering to drive her. But I'm so nervous and scared for her safety. I'm sure that's how your BF feels, and then some, since you were actually hurt. It takes a while for it to feel normal again, especially if you're still visibly injured with a broken nose. Are you okay? You need to worry about you right now. You should see a therapist because this will stay with you. I know you're worried about your boyfriend, but he won't start to calm down till he sees the healing
process in you.
Sorry you had to go through this. Obviously I don't know the details, but this may help your BF to figure some things for himself. https www.rain.org/articles/self-care-friends-and-family. I had a best friend who beat up an ex-boyfriend I had 'cause he assaulted me. I ran to his house with a bloody nose and bruises everywhere. He hated himself because I was talking to him before it happened. Then I left abruptly, which was normal, but I was gone for longer than I usually was. He knew he wanted to go check on me. He was 10 minutes down the road,
but didn't want to be intruding anything, so he didn't.
It took him months to get over it, and he had to go onto anxiety and depression meds because it was eating him so much. Trauma release exercises. I think this is one of those things that only time can scar over. Here's what's permanent. When you go out alone, your boyfriend will always be slightly more on edge than someone whose girlfriend wasn't assaulted, because that's how trauma works. When something unlikely but very bad happens to you, your brain, not the logical part, but the deeper animalistic part, overestimates the risk of it happening again. A year and a half ago I was bitten by my neighbor's dog. My wife and I were on a walk. I didn't provoke it. It just got out of the house while I happened to be walking by and it tore a tennis ball-sized chunk out of my calf. I'm still afraid of dogs. If I go over to someone's house and their dog is jumpy or overexcited, it takes every fiber of my being and willpower I have to not go running from the house. And here's the thing. I know that's irrational. I went 27 years of my life without a dog ever hurting me in any way.
I've interacted with at least 10,000 dogs in my life,
and one of them seriously harmed me. Now I think twice about every dog I face. That's how trauma works. Your boyfriend has an animalistic need to make sure you're protected in all scenarios. Even if it's irrational, and it'll get better over time. But it'll leave a scar. This is one of those life experiences that changes you, even in a small way, forever.
You both show signs of PTSD, which is expected to appear after such a traumatizing experience. Please
seek professional help. Dear BF, dude,
I can understand how you feel.
You were not there, but even do things turned out better than they could have. Evil lurks out there, and sometimes all you can do is trust that you have prepared the ones you love, so they can survive the encounter. Your GF did good. Expand your knowledge, and work more on yours. You are doing good, but know that you are not to blame. You did nothing wrong. You were in her life to protect her, and you did by helping her learn a defense. Stay strong, fellow Onite. Therapy takes time and will make you feel worse before you feel better. It might actually not be the right time for him or you, or both.
He might be experiencing a trauma response to your trauma, and over time it will dissipate.
Be kind to both of yourselves. Have you tried talking to a therapist? It could be helpful with coping for both of you. Survivor's guilt.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.